It is September the 1st, and I thought I'd give you a quick update on how the garden and the chickens are doing here on my parents' homestead. And we're going to start with unloading some straw bales, pick those up for bedding in the chicken pen, and we just got another load of feed too. So right now, I don't have an exact count on the chickens, but there might be 130 or 140. So figuring they eat almost a 50-pound bag a day at about 20 Canadian dollars per bag. So that's kind of our feed budget right now. The chickens are born late June, and we are aiming to take them to slaughter in October. So we still have a couple months, 30, 40, 45 days maybe, so that's probably like 45 bags of feed if you want to do the math on that for 140 chickens and see where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah, there's a little chipmunk and he ran over my shoe.
Yeah, those chipmunks are trouble because they eat a lot of feed when they can get into it. Ding dong. There's a chipmunk in here somewhere, and the problem with chipmunks is your chickens will eat till they're full, but a chipmunk will stuff its little cheeks and run back and forth from the feed to its den all day, stashing up all of your precious chicken feed. So normally we keep all of our feed in this old freezer. This is my old freezer that broke, and when I replaced it with a new one, it became feed storage, so it's airtight. I haven't had any trouble with moisture building up inside or sweating or the feed getting damp, so it's been really good. It keeps the chipmunks out. Hey chickens! Look at them all. Anyway, that's how big they are right now from coming in June. You can see they're using those chicken nipple waterers pretty effectively. So one of the problems we're having in here with some of the other waterer designs is that there's too much water getting spilled, and the moisture builds up really quickly, and then you get a lot of decomposition and smell going on. It's bad enough that there's already over 100 chickens roaming around, but with these chicken nipple waterers, there's almost no spillage. They're very efficient, and the chickens learn to use them really quickly, so that has definitely been a watering upgrade as far as I'm concerned. There's the big guys, Jubilee Orpington. That's the rooster on the hen that just ran around the corner. So if you watched my post-setting video, that's what it became. An 8-foot tall chicken run, big swing gate there. I still have a little bit of work to do on it, but that should last for a very, very long time and keep out most predators and keep most chickens in. And the gate's open right now because I set up this 4-foot electrified poultry netting, so it encloses a very large area out here behind the barn, and those chickens can run freely, eat everything they want. When you get down low, you can see that they have eaten basically everything within reach on these raspberry canes, so they still actually have good predator protection above because there's a solid canopy, but underneath they have a really free runway, and they can start picking up fresh shoots and any insects that are in there, which is one of the main things that they're looking to forage on. The storage container's new. Here's the story about how that arrived. Hey, this is happening today. A little bit of excitement.
This one's good, yeah.
And the garden has been doing pretty well. I didn't get the harvest out of the raspberries that I was hoping for, but I did do a lot of mulching and weeding around the base of them, and I'm going to do some pruning, which should increase their productivity for next year. And the potatoes are coming along really nicely. They should be ready to dig in the next month. I'm not so sure about the tomatoes. There's only a couple of red ones in here, sprinkled around here and there. Hopefully they ripen up before we get too many hard frosts. I'm in a zone 3B, I think, so we get pretty early frosts. Cucumbers did so-so, so I got some weird ones like this, but I also got some bigger 8-inch cucumbers, but they're just about at the end. And now this zucchini patch is producing more zucchini than we can keep up with. There are some real big green ones in there, and there are also many smaller but growing everyday yellow zucchinis, which I pretty much am eating every single day, frying them up with bacon and eggs or putting them into pasta sauce. Carrots are doing really well, but my okra, which was just an experiment that I probably won't repeat, there's not really much going on with those guys. My beans are pretty spotty. Even though I planted in between them to get a second crop, they didn't really come up very well, so I don't have much of a bean crop this year. This empty bed is beets. I don't even know if one made it through the summer. Very disappointed in my beets. And this is lettuce that I planted at the very start of the summer, and it's only now really gotten big enough to eat. It's just starting to bolt. And yet I've seen lots of people who, their lettuce, they've already grown it, eaten it, seen it bolt, and picked it. My experimental mulched potato bed. I don't think I put enough mulch down, but I'm going to dig that up in a few weeks and see what's growing underneath each of these plants. And all these wood chips, that's new. So at the start of the season, around the garden, my parents have been gardening here for 40 years, and around the garden a lot of trees had grown up and started to shade out the garden. So we spent a few days really cutting back, and I made some big brush piles. We cut some firewood, and last week I rented a chipper. It was about 200 bucks for the day and $15 worth of gas, and I think I probably made a cubic meter of wood chips. So I don't know what that would cost to buy, so I'm not really sure if it was worth it or not, but it was worth it to me to get everything tidied up and make those brush piles into useful wood chips. When you cut stuff that's about 4 centimeters or smaller in diameter, it's very garden friendly. That's called ramial chipped wood, like branches and small trees. It has a better nutrient balance, I'm going to say. element balance. If you're just using straight up wood chips from mature trees, you can run into some issues. They're not so good on your garden, but this stuff is better. And so when I have time, I scoop buckets of it and I go, and I've been mulching around the edges to keep the weeds down, keep the moisture in, add some fungal growth, more bacteria in the soil, more earthworms, and keep down the weeds. And so you can see where I've been mulching in between the beds. And I like to mulch hard along the edge of the garden to keep weeds from encroaching, and I'm going to mulch this even heavier when I have a little bit of time. So the garden's been a mixed success, but I want to give everybody an update on that. I'm going to continue with it next year. I'm hoping for better soil productivity because I've put in some of those amendments this year and gotten a lot of the weeds out. So things should be even better next year. But because it's September, we're also sort of transitioning now back into hunter-gatherer season. So I'm very excited to get out with some of my friends with some hunting, fishing, and I'm taking a trapping course a week and a half from now. So pretty soon I'll also be a licensed trapper. So just a little sneak peek at some other things that'll be coming up on the channel. Thanks for following along on this short tour. I've got a bunch of longer videos coming out over the next weeks. This should be coming out every Friday, so keep an eye out for those, and I'll see you there.